Welcome. This time lapse is about Passiflora, commonly known as passion flower. These plants, as with many others that have evolved convergently, have developed tendrils, which are believed to have been derived from inflorescences. These tendrils can attach to external structures, such as other plants, providing a parasitic evolutionary advantage and saving energy that would typically be used to develop a stronger vascular system for supporting growth. As you can see in the rightmost tendril, it's currently exhibiting positive phototropism, a phenomenon where a plant grows towards locations with a greater intensity of light. Auxin is a signaling hormone used by plants to control location and rate of development. Normally, it flows across cell membranes down to the roots equally on all sides, encouraging growth wherever it moves. However, as predominantly blue light is absorbed by phototropins, which are specialized light receptors, auxin is laterally redistributed to the shaded side of the tendril, causing those cells to elongate more, and the plant to slowly bend in the direction of the light source. Likewise, during the night, you can see that our tendril has begun showing kinesis, which is an undirected and random motion once the primary daylight source has been removed. This is more representative of circummutation, which is when the tendril just moves vertically up in a helix pattern, allowing for the greatest likelihood of attaching to a surface, something that you can see has just happened. The issue is, how does a tendril decide when to coil onto a stable surface and not onto something like an insect or another tendril? This is explained by thigmotropism, which is when the tendril senses the repeated presence of an external object by touch. In the case of Passiflora, there is a special surface near the tip of the tendril which contains papillae, a special type of cell, and only spans one half of the total tip surface. This is why we saw a few instances earlier of sustained contact at the tip that didn't result in coiling. Also note that the bottom left tendril is currently touching the pencil at the middle of its length, where there are no papillae and thus it isn't coiling. After activation, these cells allow for the release of calcium ions via a mechanically gated channel. This in turn encourages auxin flow on the opposite side of the tendril, which causes the tendril to curve around the object. Once the coiling process has begun, a series of microscopic interactions within certain cells of the tendril gradually increase the force that the contact point can tolerate. Inside these gelatinous fiber cells, also known as the fiber ribbon, our old friend auxin encourages the production of lignin, a type of stiff support tissue. However, the concentration of lignin is asymmetric across layers of the fiber. This means that, when given the right parameters, the fiber can actually give way in the form of curvature and not bending when it is exposed to higher forces. This is a phenomenon known as overwinding, and this is what causes the tendril to coil instead of deforming laterally. One benefit of having a mobile contact point is that we can actually determine the period of circummutation based on the pendulum-like motion of the pencil. The period is, on average, about 2 seconds here, corresponding to 2 hours in real time. The value we obtain is very close to that found in literature, so our plant does seem to be exhibiting typical behavior. Now, pay attention to the winding unit that the coils are originating from. This is known as a perversion, much like one you'd see in a telephone cord. Note that the coils on the right of the perversion have a right-handed chirality, and the coils on the left have a left-handed chirality. You can use your hand to see. This is incredibly useful because now the tendril can undergo incremental coiling to increase the torsional force, rather than having to work in whole numbers of coils. Tendrils are a unique plant organ because of the huge variety in tropisms that they have adapted to use, as well as the remarkable speed that they can move with in response to stimuli. These amplified effects serve as a useful model for the same behaviors in other plants because we can better isolate the effects of a single environmental factor on growth and development. In addition, tendrils are highly adaptable, so climbing plants as a whole have been able to adapt to a large variety of ecological niches across a wide geographic range. Understanding their diverse psychophysiology can help shed light on the mutualistic interactions that have contributed to their rise.